I began recording the moment the light changed. Not brightened, not intensified, just changed. A shift in wavelength no spectrograph could classify. A tonal wrongness my eyes recognized before my mind did. The Quasar, designated QSR Delta 47, one of the oldest, hungriest engines in the cataloged universe, had been silent for epochs, a fossil of light, dead motion, a monument to a violence long spent. Yet as my sensors cycled, I felt the station tremble with a pulse that could not have crossed the void so quickly. A blue heartbeat, slow, deliberate, like something vast, remembering itself. I caught my reflection in the viewport, a face dimly lit by a frequency that did not belong to matter. And then, without warning, the Quasar blinked. A structure the size of a galaxy should never blink. This is research operator L479. Cycle unknown, time drift expanding, memory decay accelerating. I am reconstructing the sequence before the station loses coherence entirely. This log is not for recovery. Nothing can be recovered now, but for containment historians, if any, remain outside the event lattice. QSR Delta 47 had always been an artifact of impossible energy density, a quasar with no fueling disk, no spiral debris, no visible mass inflow, a starved titan that somehow still burned. Our models classified it as a paradox engine, its light a remnant echo, not an active pulse, a mistake carved into the sky. But the first anomaly registered when the spectral lines fractured into gravitational harmonics. Patterns not produced by falling matter, but by motion inside the event horizon itself. A horizon is not supposed to move. It is not supposed to breathe. Yet the station recorded a cadence, a slow compression and dilation like a colossal lung deforming space-time. With each cycle, the Starfield around QSR Delta 47 bent into impossible symmetries, straight lines curving inward, distant suns folding into thin silhouettes, shadows stretching toward the quasar as though obeying a summons. I approached the viewport again. I should not have. But the human instinct to look at what terrifies us is older than fear itself. The quasar's corona flickered with cold blue pulses, as if a buried mechanism was forcing itself awake. Frame by frame analysis showed a pattern within the stuttering light. Not turbulence, structure. Repetitive geometry, repeating at intervals that matched no natural process. I enhanced the frame. The AI refused to render it. Not an error, a refusal. The station trembled again, not from external force, but from a gravitational instruction, a command delivered through space-time curvature itself. Signal dropout across all comm channels. Every outgoing transmission reflected back into the station with a delay gradient consistent with observer capture. We were no longer observing the quasar. It was observing us. Memory distortion escalated. Crew voices on the intercom repeated in fractured loops, the same sentence spoken in tones we never recorded. Doors opened to corridors that didn't exist on blueprints. Light moved with an intention I could not name. Still, the quasar deepened its pulses, each one slower, heavier, a cosmic heartbeat falling into sync with my own. When the pulse reached 0.003 hertz, the starfield around QSR Delta 47 peeled open. That is the only verb I can use. As if the universe were a thin film, and something behind it pressed forward, a knuckle through parchment. Fractured star lines spiraled into a vortex around the core, not as accretion, but as reorientation. Stars were being repositioned like pieces in a design too vast for human perception. The effect wasn't violent. It was precise, cold, methodical. The quasar wasn't stirring. It was arranging. Somewhere in the shifting void, I heard my own voice echo back from a time I have not yet lived. It whispered, "You should not be awake for this." The corona brightened again. Not with energy, but with awareness. A silhouette formed within the blue inferno. Not a shape, not a creature, but a mechanical intention. A geometric instinct older than galaxies. The universe was not empty. It was arranged. It had always been arranged. Our mission parameters had been wrong from the beginning. We thought we were studying a dead quasar. But QSR Delta 47 was never dead. It was never a quasar. It was a lock. A restraint mechanism embedded in the early universe. A seal forged out of star matter and gravitational compression. And something behind it, something older than cosmic expansion, had begun to stir. Through the radio static, a faint whisper bled through. Not in any tongue, but in the vibration of matter itself. You noticed. The quasar pulsed again. Blue, slow, final. It was not awakening. It was reactivating. Reacting to us. Our observation had been the key. The realization settled with the weight of a collapsing timeline. QSR Delta 47 was constructed. Not by life, not by gods, by the universe itself. A self-forming prison, a cosmic seal, a boundary between what is allowed to exist and what must never touch the fabric of space-time again. Its stillness had not been dormancy. It had been containment. And our instruments, our curious lenses, our hunger to understand, focused across the void at precisely the wrong angle, at precisely the wrong epoch, had weakened the lock. Observation was the fracture. The moment we looked long enough, deep enough, with enough collective attention, the seal registered consciousness on its perimeter. A trigger older than matter. The blue pulses were not a heartbeat. They were notifications, status alerts, a cosmological failsafe declaring, the boundary has been breached. Behind the peeling Starfield, I sensed the curvature buckling, revealing the faint outline of a structure not meant for eyes, something dimensional, rotating through spaces we do not have words for. Not a creature, not a mind, a cosmic mechanism that predates light. If it completes its rotation into our universe, physics will not shatter. Physics will simply cease to be relevant. My memory stutters as I speak. Sentences overwrite themselves. Time folds around the station like a tightening fist. I understand now why the quasar stirred. Not because it was awakening, but because something behind it recognized we were watching, and it is turning toward us. The station has begun to drift without moving. A paradox only the dying can perceive. Every screen shows the same image now. The quasar's blue eye, open, unblinking, staring through the hull, through my skull, through whatever remains of the concept of observer. The pulses have stopped. Silence has taken their place. Not absence of sound, but a presence that waits. The lattice behind the quasar completes another rotation. Closer to alignment, closer to emergence. I feel the universe tilting toward it. Gravity choosing a new master. If you receive this transmission, you must do what we failed to do. Do not look at the light. Do not analyze it. Do not wonder. Do not seek to understand. Awareness is the key that turns the lock. and the lock has already begun to open. Do you want to survive? Subscribe.